So greetings and welcome to today's educational program. QMD Part 1, How to Improve Your Member Experience Using MyASQ by Heather McCain. This is your moderator, Doug Wood, with ASQ's Quality Management Division. So today we have the distinct pleasure of hearing from Heather McCain. Please join me in welcoming her. Heather McCain is currently a professor of the practice for project management and the interim director of Bachelor of Science in Information Technology at the University of Kansas. She has more than 25 years of experience in quality engineering and management. She works with companies to implement continuous improvement methodologies, such as Lean Six Sigma, and provides training on quality, project management, and process improvement. Prior to joining KU, she was the quality manager for customer product at Garmin International. Prior to joining Garmin, Heather was with Hallmark Cards and Allied Signal, now Honeywell, Aerospace and Automotive. Heather is a senior member of the American Society for Quality and is extremely active in our local ASQ section. She is a QMD Content Management Committee leader for Supply Chain Management. Heather is a certified quality manager and a certified quality engineer. She has a BS in Electrical Engineering from Kansas State University, a Master's in Engineering Management from the University of Kansas, and a PhD in Technology Management from Indiana State University. So without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce Heather McCain. Heather, the floor is yours.
Awesome. Thanks, Doug. And welcome, everyone, to this session. So a few months ago, Doug and a group of us at the Quality Management Division were kind of talking about MyASQ and how do we get people into MyASQ and using MyASQ. And we kind of said, well, you know, part of it is really starting off with how do I get into MyASQ and how do I start to use it, and then how do I use it to interact with others. So at the end of this webinar, Doug's going to talk about the upcoming sessions that we have. We created really a 4-part series to kind of start you off and then get you on your journey to using MyASQ to connect with others within the American Society for Quality. So if you have been out to MyASQ already, there is a PowerPoint that runs, that basically has a lot of this information in it that ASQ headquarters put together. I added a few bits and pieces of information to it to base really on my experiences and kind of how I use MyASQ. So I hope that this will be helpful in getting you into and using MyASQ to connect with other quality professionals. All right, so what am I going to cover? I'm going to really cover some basic stuff initially, like how do you log in, and then how do you change notifications? Because when you log into MyASQ, it's set up in a certain way. And so if you want to change things or if you want to get things more frequently or less frequently, you're going to have to make some setting changes. I'll also talk a little bit about how to interact with others to kind of get you started on that as we go on to the other 3 webinars that we're going to do, and how to find some useful content. All right, so first of all, logging into MyASQ. I generally log in using Chrome as my browser. Some browsers seem to work better than others. I have had a couple people who were trying to use Firefox, and it doesn't look exactly the same. So most of the slides that I have are based on what it would look like in Chrome. So you have to go out, and you can go into this a couple of different ways. One is you can go to my.asq.org. And if you type that in, it's going to pop up with a screen that looks like this. And then it has a little log-on button over to the side. You have to click on that login button in order to get into the rest of the content. You will see some content from myasq.org when you just go out to this link. But if you don't log in, you're not going to see much else. You have to actually log in to see more information. All right, so you click log in and you put your username and password, and it's your ASQ username and password. So if you haven't set that up, you're going to have to go out and set up your profile within asq.org in order to be able to get in. If you have trouble with that, like the initial login and password, contact ASQ headquarters because there are people in their customer care center that can help walk you through. Now, one of the first things I typically tell people to do when they get into MyASQ is update their profile, because that's how people are going to see you. You can put your picture in there. You can put some more information about yourself, but it's a good way to at least get some information out there about who you are so that other people kind of can recognize you. Then you can go into My Settings, and My Settings you get to by clicking on, there's a little arrow. Let me see, do I have a little scribbly thing? So there's a little arrow, there's a red arrow pointing to the box on the side that has kind of a little down arrow. You click on that to get to My Settings. It's always in the upper right-hand corner of your screen, near where your name is. When you go into My Settings, there are really 4 areas that you really need to go into and set some things up: account, privacy, notification, and subscriptions. So we'll start by walking through some of the areas here. And you can see it says My Settings, so that's how you know you're in the right location. The first thing I did is I went in and I changed my privacy settings, because I think when people log in, it's set to nobody. I can't remember. I think when I first logged in, it was set to nobody. So if you want people to send you things and you want to be able to have people look at your profile, you're going to have to change the settings. Now, I changed mine to where everybody can send me private messages, everybody can comment on my profile, everybody can see the information that I've put in. And that's because, again, I'm pretty active in my section and in the quality management division. So I'm okay with people seeing what I put out there. You might want to only limit it to friends, and those are your friends in MyASQ. So as you are kind of interfacing with MyASQ, people will see you and they can ask to be your friend. You have to allow them to be your friend. You can also go out and look for people and say, hey, I'd like to connect to you, and you can connect to those people, and then only those people are going to see this information. If you want, again, nobody to see it, then you still have the option of nobody. But then, again, it kind of limits your interaction with other people if you select nobody. But it's really up to you to figure out how you want this set up. All right, then you go to notifications. Now, notifications, you'll get email when things happen. So you'll notice I don't have everything checked on this. I only checked certain things, and some of that's because I go out to MyASQ fairly often, so I see other things like comments on my profile and photos and things like that that I have out there. I really just wanted to know when somebody, I wanted to know when somebody sends me a private message. I wanted to know when somebody commented on a file, because if I upload a file, I want to know, were people interested in it? Did they have comments? Blog subscriptions, resource subscriptions, people posting comments in my discussions, that sort of thing. So I didn't select everything, even though it says all communication is recommended. And I did that because I was getting a lot of email, and I didn't like getting a lot of email. So I went in and just set it up to what I personally thought was important to me. So everyone is going to be different. So all 141 people that are attendees in this webinar, everyone is going to be a little different. So I think it's up to you to kind of figure out, when do you want to get an email about what's going on in MyASQ, and set those notifications. Now, I have also changed these some over time, and that's because I say, oh, well, I really would like to see if somebody comments on my profile, so I can go back out there and change that. All right, and then subscriptions is the last part, and subscriptions deal with different parts of MyASQ. And again, it depends on how much email you're going to want to get from MyASQ. So again, a lot of times these are set to none. So if you want to know instantly when something has happened, you can select instant, and it will send you an email right away that says, hey, somebody, you're interested in this, or they send out information about this. Daily means that it will send you kind of a summary every day, and then weekly means that it sends you something weekly. Now, there are some things that I really, because I'm not in industry anymore, not really interested in, so maybe I click those as none because I don't want to really see any information from those discussions. Again, it's really kind of up to you to figure out what you want to get information about and how frequently you want to get that information, and that will help you determine what settings you select for subscriptions. So notifications and subscriptions are two things that, again, you may have to kind of go in and set them up and then see how much information you're receiving, and then maybe go back and tweak those a little bit to say, okay, I really don't want to know all of the information right away. I'm okay with a weekly summary of this. Okay, so let's see. That's kind of it on some of the initial settings. All right, Doug, were there any questions kind of on settings just before I go on I could cover?
Let's see, someone's asked, someone who's repeatedly sent me a friend request, even though I've declined these requests, is there a way to block those?
I do not know if you can block it. You can just ignore them. I ignore a lot of them. If you go out to MyASQ, I have some people that I really don't know who they are, and I haven't interfaced with them before, so I just leave them I just leave them there, and I don't accept their invitation. I know Trish is on. I don't know if she could answer. She can't talk, but maybe she could type something in the Q&A. I don't think we can actually block people.
Yeah, Trish, if you can put something in the chat, if you will, and we'll share it.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, I do have a few people who had sent me a friend request, and I don't, again, if I don't know who they are and I haven't really interfaced with them much, and I don't see that they're linked to Quality Management Division or any of the divisions, Customer Supplier Division, or any of the divisions that I really do a lot with, then sometimes I'll just leave them there. They just stay there forever. Yeah, what would Trish say? Unfortunately, no. I don't think we can block people.
No, there's no blocking. Okay. But you can just ignore them. Eventually they'll stop pestering you.
Well, if they've already sent you one and you just leave it there, they can't send you another one. I mean, it may show up as a notification, like in the email section, but notification section, but it's not going to, it's only going to show up once. Just ignore it. Delete. Use the delete button. Do that every once in a while too. All right. Okay, so let's move on to kind of interacting with others. So let me just back up on one more thing on getting into MyASQ. So at the beginning of this, I said you can go to my.asq.org to get in. You can also just go out to asq.org, log in, and then if you want to go to MyASQ, you can scroll down and go to, there's a section on the bottom of the screen that you can get into MyASQ from that direction as well. You're still going to have to click the login button, but you can get to it from the main ASQ.org site as well. I think it's just easier to bookmark or to type in the my.asq.org to get there. All right, so interacting with others. That's really what MyASQ is for, is interacting with other people. You can search for members, you can look for other people who have similar interests to yours, and that's how you can kind of develop your friend list. So you can go to members, and if you want to search for people, you can search. You can also filter by certain things like professional experience. There are a list of things that you can filter by, and then it will show you in your search results people that meet that specific criteria that are ASQ members. And then again, in order to interface with them on MyASQ, you're going to have them as a friend and send them a friend request, and then you can connect with that person. Oh, does Trish have another comment, Doug? See, she had a question.
No, I don't think you can block. Okay.
Yeah, we can't block people.
Okay.
And
here's one. Can I look for people from my company?
You can look for people by certain companies, yes. But I will tell you that I've tried to search for some companies. Sometimes people don't, again, it's based on how people have set up their information when they joined ASQ. So one of the things I've noticed about companies is sometimes people type the names in different or type the name, part of the name in. So I've kind of played around with the search, looking for people from certain companies, and I haven't had a lot of real good luck with finding that. The other thing I've found is that some people don't put their company information in, especially if they had to pay for their membership themselves. So there may not be that information in there in order to try to find people from your same organization. But yeah, there's a lot of things that you can try searching a variety of different ways. It's actually kind of fun to go in there and search just to see what pulls up on the list. See how many hits you get for a certain word that you put in for searching for ASQ members. But again, it's based on what people have used when they signed up for ASQ. So if they didn't put in their company name or they didn't fill out some of the information, then they won't show. And I think we've found that one of these webinars I did with my local section, we were actually trying to find one of our board members in MyASQ, and he kept saying, I'm in MyASQ, and we kept searching, and we couldn't find him, and it was the way that his last name was actually registered when he signed up. He has a name that has two parts to it, and so we actually had to search a different way. We eventually found him, and he was happy. He was there. Yeah, the search function is kind of fun to look for people. Okay. And then once you find people, you can, again, go out. Again, this is like search results. Oh, see, I did Doug Wood. I put Doug and Wood because Doug is the other person who's helping me with this webinar today. And you'll notice I got two different hits on that one. I actually got Doug, but notice his name is Douglas. So I was glad that it showed up when I searched.
Yeah.
and I got somebody else. So again, and you can see here are the other things that you can filter by. If you get a long list, you can filter by professional experience. But see, it all depends on what people have put in MyASQ. So like Doug has he has more information in here. So if you go out and you search for things under professional experience, quality experience, and you put in like quality management, if they haven't put that in their MyASQ profile, which is one of the first things you have to set up, then it's not going to show up when you do a search. So again, this is searching through the information that you have in MyASQ. So if you don't have a lot of information out there in your profile, people aren't going to be able to find you. So the more information you have, the more people are probably going to be able to find you. If you don't have a lot of information, then it's going to be harder for people to actually find you other than by your name. So
is there a location? Can they search by location?
I don't think there's a location, because I think we tried that with the Kansas City section to see if we could look for people in Kansas City, but I don't think we had much luck with that.
Perhaps that's a security thing. You know, you don't want people finding. Some people don't want to be found, right?
Yep. Trish says no search my location in the membership. Yeah, we didn't. I know when we tried Kansas City, we didn't get anything. So, and again, it depends on what you've put in your profile, and there's certain things that you can put in your profile and certain things that you can't. So, and a lot of that is for privacy. You know, we don't want to get into issues with people looking or finding people and then knowing where they're located, especially if they've got some sort of adversarial relationship going on. We want to protect people from that type of thing.
Here's one. So there's a section that talks about link to enterprise, but what does that mean? There are no memberships to display. Any ideas?
Links to enterprise. Like enterprise members? I don't know what that is. Where was that?
I don't know. It's in the chat window. Just under my account, there's a section of link to enterprise.
Oh, I don't know because I'm not an enterprise member. So.
Oh, then apparently they are an enterprise. Their company is an enterprise member.
There you go. So maybe they can link to their enterprise membership then. It's interesting.
Although other people at their enterprise would have to be in there as well. Oh, no, wait, Trish cleared that up. She says they're talking about the account on MyASQ.org, not the same area. Okay, so I'm going to ask Trish a question. Trish, do you want to become a panelist? I can put you in as a panelist. She can. I'll take that as a yes.
That would be great, Trish. Yeah, and I think that's some of what is a little confusing is there's ASQ.org and then MyASQ. MyASQ is the section where you can interact and interface with other members. And so it's kind of almost like a different part of the website and a different way to interact with other people other than just on, on ASQ.org. And again, MyASQ is only as good as what you've put in there for like your profile. If you haven't set things up in the MyASQ.org, then again, people aren't going to be able to find you or they're not going to know much about you. Again, you have some control over that depending on what you want to let people know about you. All right, so once you find people that you want to have as friends, you can go up here and you can click at the top of the screen. There's a friends. You can ask people to be your friend, and then a message goes out to that person, and they have to accept or they can reject your friend notification. So if you want to find people when you're searching and you want to be friends with them, like you can all go out and look for me, Heather McCain, and see if you can find me and then ask to be my friend. Now, that's probably why I have some people still in my limbo land because I didn't know where they came from. You might say, I was in your webinar, and then I will know why you are contacting me. But you can go out and you can click on friends, and then you can add friends that way. Okay? So it allows you to then have a group. So I have like a group of people. The really neat thing is if I want to like message those people, like I think I noticed, who else did I notice was on this webinar? a couple of people that I kind of email back and forth with sometimes. What's nice about ASQ is you also have the ability to message people. So if you want to send people a message or multiple people a message and they're your friends on MyASQ, you can use MyASQ to send them that message, and then you can all reply back together within the ASQ. So it's great if you're working on, I know I worked on another webinar with somebody and we did all of our messages back and forth in MyASQ. I've also helped set up some local chapter meetings by messaging people on MyASQ. ASQ headquarters sends me a lot of messages through MyASQ. So it allows you to have an option to get information that's relevant within ASQ. All right, so are there any other questions kind of on adding friends, Doug? Or Trish, do you have anything to add on adding friends?
Haven't seen anything else about adding friends. How do you see your friends?
So you can go into friends and then you can look to see your entire list of friends. And if you want to, like, again, send them a message, there's a little drop-down box that shows up under their face. If they have a picture, it has a little picture of them, and you can go out and you can send them messages once they're your friend. You see their picture, you see their profile, you see all that information.
There's only about 14,000 members of ASQ that are in MyASQ. So when you search there for friends, you won't find someone who's an ASQ member and is not in MyASQ.
Yes, and if you find people that are not on MyASQ and you think they really should be because of the benefits of interacting with other people, then you should send them an email to their other account and say, hey, you need to get on MyASQ. So we get more people involved in MyASQ because we don't have all of our members out there yet, and it would be nice if we did have more of our members out there. All right, so I do like this tip that's on here too. You need to really customize your member profile so that again, if people are searching for somebody with certain expertise or interest, they can find you. So update that information, and that's why I brought it up at the very beginning of this. Update that information and have it there, so people can see you and understand kind of who you are and what you might have to offer them. I know, being part of the quality management division, it's always nice to see other people that are involved in quality management. All right, Trish, do you have anything else to add in like the adding friends part?
No, you guys are doing great. I just really jumped on here to see if you could give me any pointers.
Awesome. See, I keep going to all these too because I think I learn something every time I am on one of them. All right, so let's talk a little bit about then interacting with other people and using discussions. So in MyASQ, you'll see at the top, there's My Home, Communities, Discussions, Events, News, Members, World Conference, and Help. So I'm gonna just talk about discussions a little bit, and then discussions are really a way to have a discussion about a certain topic and interact with other people on a certain topic. So it's again a great place to share your knowledge and to really help other people. And again, I think more people will be interested in MyASQ if we have a lot of good information out there that can help them in whatever it is they need help with, or can, you can share information about kind of what's going on. So you'll notice that there are some discussion categories that show up. You can go into those discussions and you can post information. You can start discussions and have other people contribute to your discussion. So again, it's a way to connect with other people and share your knowledge, share your expertise. If you're new to quality, go out there and start a discussion saying, hey, I'm a new quality manager and I'm dealing with this issue right now. Does anybody have any advice? I'm pretty sure you'll get a lot of help if you go out and you start a discussion like that. And there may be already discussions that are out there. So it allows you to go out and look at what other people have posted that might be useful for you. You can also search those discussions. You notice there's a search function over here. So you can go out and search for discussions. I will tell you, do not just type quality in there because pretty much every discussion is around quality. So try to find some specific things that you might be interested in, and then you can search those discussions. But it's, again, a good way to interact with other people, and a good way to really get started in MyASQ is to go out and get started by looking at some of the discussions that are out there. All right, another one is to look at communities. So in communities are what we used to call sections and divisions, so they're the geographical communities and the technical communities that are out there now. And you can see I have, well, actually, if I had this whole thing, I have a whole list because I belong to every technical community, and I also belong to my local section. But I highlighted on this slide the Quality Management Division because that's who's putting on this webinar today, and I work a lot with that particular group. But you'll notice that you can see information from them. If you clicked on that blue Quality Management Division, it will take you to their community. And what we're going to do in some of the webinars after this webinar is we're going to go through some of the stuff that's available out there on the Quality Management, in the Quality Management Division community, so you can kind of see some of the information that's out there and see how you can interact with other people that are involved in that technical community. And we have links to some things that are kind of useful, like the helpful hints for MyASQ, which I think is something else I put together previously. We also have our Quality Management Forum author submission packet. We have our QMD webinar presenter submission packet. So if you're interested in doing a webinar, you can. You know, we're always open for other people who want to do webinars or participate in any of the things that we have going on in the Quality Management Division. But that's how, if you go to communities, you'll see the list of the things that you belong to. This morning I had an email from somebody here locally in Kansas City, and she said, hey, I click on communities and I don't see anything. I said, well, you know, what technical communities are you a part of? When you renewed your membership, did you click on any of those? She goes, I don't think so. And then she couldn't see our local section either because she hadn't for some reason, I don't think, she opted out of something. Anyway, I told her to call ASQ headquarters, call the 1-800 number. I'm sure they'll be able to help you with whatever you need, and gave her some information on some of them that she might be interested in. So hopefully she's getting that fixed today. So that's communities. And then, again, navigating to the QMD part of MyASQ, there's another way to get into this other than going the way that I showed you on this slide where you're logged in to MyASQ and go to communities. You can actually get to it by going to my.asq.org and then home. Again, choose communities, go to technical, and then you can find Quality Management Division there as well. And again, you may have to scroll down if you belong to a lot of the technical communities, but they're in alphabetical order, so you should be able to find it fairly easily. And then you can see all the links that are available there. So that's just another way to get into it. Again, once you get into the QMD community, this is what our page looks like. There's home, discussions, members, files. Now this is different than what you had with just in your MyASQ. Now this is the MyASQ that's the Quality Management Division's community. So the discussions here are different than the discussions that you see when you're just in MyASQ. Members will be members that are members of this technical community. files are the files that are relevant to Quality Management Division that we've put out there. There may be photos. I can't remember if there's any photos. I never like to go look at photos because I always look bad in photos, so I just try to ignore those. Videos, events, again, a lot of different things that you can get to there. We do have like our Quality Management Division, our Quality Management body of knowledge out there, our committees, like when Doug introduced me, talked about the fact that I'm involved with the supplier technical content community. So those are out there, and then you can look at back issues of the forum, as well as see kind of who's on our leadership division, our leadership team. Doug talked about when we were chit-chatting at the very beginning about the Watson webinar series, and you can get to it that way as well. There's a wealth of information under each community, and again, each technical committee has a page. So their page are going to be set up similar to this. So if you want to go out to audit or customer supplier or any of the others, or even your local section, you can find something that looks similar out there. So there's a lot of information on MyASQ. And so I encourage you, if you're not on MyASQ yet, go get this set up and start looking at all of the great information that's out there. All right, so more webinars are coming. I talked about Doug is actually going to do the next one in, let's see, August. So part 2, how to use MyASQ for sharing vital knowledge. So I gave you just a little bit of hint about how that is going to go. He's going to talk a little bit more about how you can share your knowledge and expertise. Then we're also looking in September about QMD content, how to find QMD content and get more into really what we have available under our technical community here. And then part 4 will be how to create content to help support our content management committees. So again, we're always looking for people to help provide knowledge and expertise in those committees. So in October, we'll have a webinar on that as well. Okay, and I think that is really all that I had. So here's your task. You got to try to find me on MyASQ and send me a friend notification, and then you can connect with me. All right, let's see. Anything else, Doug, we need to cover here?
I think that's pretty much it. We have a few questions.
All right.
So let's see, where are our questions? So 1, are job postings done in communities?
I don't think we had job postings on ours. We have resources, but I don't think I've seen anybody post any jobs out there.
Hey, this is Trish. We do have a career center on asq.org. It's, I believe, careers.asq.org, where there are job postings available. And we encourage everyone to use that source as a job posting function.
Yeah, I think that's why we're not putting it in MyASQ, because we already had a pretty good way to post jobs out there on careers.asq.org.
Okay, so we had another question about, can I join other communities? And there's 2 ways. When you renew your membership, you can check the box that says what communities you want to belong to. But if it's not time for your renewal, you need to call customer care. And that would be the 800 number for ASQ, 800-248-1946, 1946. So those are the 2 ways you can do that. Here's one. In the edit profile section, is there a connect where you can put links to LinkedIn or Facebook? And what kind of advantage would there be to do that? I don't think there's well, there is a connect section. You can put links to LinkedIn and Facebook. So what's the advantage in MyASQ? Well,
connecting with other quality professionals, and really, you know, one of the issues I've run into with LinkedIn is you connect with a whole lot of other people, and it's not just the quality community, it's a lot of other folks. So if you have a very specific question or you have expertise that you want to share around quality, MyASQ is really kind of the place to go.
So one comment here. It used to cost money to join other communities. Is this true now? The answer is no.
Yep. Yeah, you can join as many as you want. That's why I said I joined all of them, and I did that because I actually do interface with a lot of the other technical communities. I wouldn't suggest doing that unless you're really interested in them, but go out there and yes, you can have more than one technical community that you are associated with now.
I'm not sure about sections. Can you join multiple sections as well?
I've not done that, but Trish might know.
Yeah, that's $20 a piece for extra sections.
Okay.
But the technical communities are all included in your membership, so you can select as many as you like. You can select all 26 if you like.
Yep.
Okay, so there you go. Thank you, Trish, for that authoritative answer. We need that.
You're welcome.
Okay, here's one. Is it possible to get a copy of this presentation as a reference so you don't have to be reviewing YouTube? So, Heather, these slides, we can put them in a PDF file, and we can put them in MyASQ, which, of course, that's kind of defeating things because you have to get in here. Okay, what we could do, though, is Heather has an email address. We'll provide it to you in an email when this goes out afterward. Send Heather an email. She can send you a PDF file. How's that, Heather?
That will work.
Okay. So here's one. I log on to ASQ.org, and then I go to a different place in ASQ, and it thinks I'm not logged in, wants me to log in again. Well,
yeah, and you do have to log in again to get into myasq.org. So if you've logged in to asq.org, when you click on towards the bottom of the page, there's a link that you can get to MyASQ. When you click on that, it's going to have you log in to MyASQ, and that's for security. So as you're not, as you're moving around in your browser or you're trying to open up MyASQ, you do have to click the login and then log in. And I'm pretty sure that's probably for security. Everybody's trying to be pretty careful anymore about securing sites, especially like MyASQ, because it's got information about members in there and anything, things that you've put in your profile. You want to make sure that that's somewhat secure and only available to members of ASQ.
Heather, this is Trish, and I would like to say too that once you have created that account in MyASQ, it should allow you to move back and forth between MyASQ and ASQ.org as a single sign-on. But sometimes since they're kind of two different platforms, sometimes there is a hiccup and it won't carry over your sign-on.
Yeah, and some of it I think is what browser you choose as well, and security settings you have set up there, because some browsers you can set your security settings so that it forces you to log in every time. And if you're trying to use a company computer to do this, a lot of times their IT people set that up. Can you tell I work with IT? Sometimes we set that up so you have to log into stuff.
So I think someone asks here, why do I need a separate login credential to access the Career Center? And I think that might be the same topic you're talking about here. If your browser requires you to log in, you have to log in again because you're leaving one site going to another site.
Yeah.
But if you're in the right kind of browser, like perhaps Chrome, and the other thing is, Trish is right. Sometimes there are hiccups between systems. In theory, it's a single sign-on, but if there's some glitch, then you need to call ASQ help. Okay, you need to call customer care.
And I would add that the Career Center is a little different. It does have a different login for that one, but that was specifically set up so that if you're currently at your job and you have an email address for ASQ that is at your work, when you set up an account in the Career Center, it wouldn't override that information. So it's more about a little security for people that are looking for a job, that are currently at a job and don't want their company to know that.
That is smart. Yes.
Well, because if you would change your, if there was a single sign-on and you changed your email or something in there, it would ride back to overwrite what is in our database for all of your ASQ communications. So we actually decided not to do that for those reasons.
Yeah, that's smart. Okay, anything else?
I don't have anything specific here. I think what we might need, some of these questions that get a little bit technical. What we might want to do is, if you're having, a technical issue logging in, then really the help desk at ASQ, the community care, is the place to go, because they can see things that we can't. We're just kind of giving you an overview here. If you have questions about what we talked about here, navigating MyASQ, or setting up some of your options and so on, Heather would be happy to answer that. Of course, send Heather an email if you want to get a copy of this PDF.
Yes. Somebody asked, can they invite non-ASQ members to MyASQ? I think the answer to that is no.
I answered that. I said no. Yeah, you have to be a member of ASQ to get in here. It's not like LinkedIn where that's the whole world. This is for ASQ members, so it's part of a benefit of ASQ.
Yes.
And ASQ, your dues went to ASQ to build MyASQ site. So yeah, we don't want to, as much as we'd like to invite everybody. Now, there's another thing about this too. People who are non-members can see parts of MyASQ, but they can't comment, they can't post. We'll do more about that in the next session.
Right. Yeah, they can see that first screen that comes up, but that's pretty much about it.
Okay.
All right. Any other comments? Do you want to give a pitch for the Watson stuff here, Doug, while we got a minute or two left?
Yeah, I think so here.